Welcome, everyone, to the Your Energy First podcast. I'm your host, Emily Marie, and it is such a pleasure to have you here today to co-create with you in this space and to talk about all things your energy. Welcome back to the podcast. It is so wonderful. It's such a pleasure to have you here today for our set. Spirit's calling it a set. They're giving me this theme, like this stage theme right now. And you know how when you're in a theater, it's like this stage, but everybody's interacting together, from the audience engaging with the performers who are feeling the enjoyment of providing people entertainment. Oh my gosh. I'm not getting this part out. So today we are going to talk about energy trend that's happening right now. We are also going to discuss what happens if your energy feels a little bit off, or heaven forbid, you feel like you might have some sort of attachment, which happens. And don't worry, I am going to show you how you stay in your light and clear this for yourself, or seek help for someone to support you. And we always want to remember that the more knowledge we have to make decisions for ourselves, the more empowered we are. And it doesn't make you a bad person or someone who's of the dark because you are observing energy that is not of the light. That is a very common misconception. It's a misconception that I definitely had about myself for a very brief period of time, because I see the whole spectrum of energy. And my guides were like, yeah, this is what you see. And I was like, cool. Let's bring in more of the light stuff, please. But the light stuff is non-invasive, right? And the dark stuff has no boundaries. So we are going to talk about what to do when you feel like you need to zhuzh up your energy. And we're also going to talk about Reiki. I have not talked about this too much before on the podcast, and it is a topic that is ready to come forward. So, you know me, I am trusting the process. And a couple of announcements first. So I am going to be announcing a few more energetic containers. And a few of my current containers are evolving, and I'm very excited about this. And my hope is that as I roll out these announcements, it gives you courage to be creative within yourself, because for so long I hid my creativity, or I thought creativity meant painting or quilting, right? Kind of the more obvious things. And those are absolutely beautiful ways to create. But I find myself creating in ways that are not quite as visual, maybe. And my creations are evolving. And I think that's a beautiful thing as everybody's energy elevates. And it is, right? That we all take a look at giving ourselves permission to evolve, and giving ourselves permission to evolve our creativity. Years ago, pre-Panini, that's what I call the pandemic. It just feels a little bit nicer. There was an artist. She was a painter that I followed, and she actually came to Seattle. And I had reached out to her on Instagram, and she held a class, and it was wonderful. And I really loved her painting, and I loved the way she taught. Just very real, very herself, very unique in her own way. And I just love how she shared everything and was genuinely wanting people to make it their own. And I hadn't visited her Instagram or her website in a while, and I went to it and I was like, oh my gosh, her paintings are different. You know, she's evolved. And that's such a beautiful thing. So however it is you feel you're currently in the creative process, maybe the guys just gave this example. For some of you, it might be the types of book you're reading. Maybe you've evolved a little bit with the types of book you're reading. And I know that may not seem creative to some of you because you're ingesting instead of putting out, but it is affecting your energy. So give yourself permission to say, I get to be different. I get to evolve, as my new kitten is running around in the background. He always manages to do this right at the peak times when I'm holding space for things. So I'll have a little chat with him and tell him how much I appreciate his support and his energy and what it needs to look like during these containers versus before and after. So on that note, I have a number of podcast interviews coming up. One of them is going to be with this woman who is a pet communicator, and she does such a wonderful job, and her and I had such a wonderful conversation, and I'm just really excited to help share with you guys the magic that is communicating with your pets. And what I love, one of the energetic trends I'm seeing right now is how in mainstream America, or Western culture as it were, we are all going to be communicating more in new ways with loved ones who have crossed over. I've mentioned that before, as well as our pets, because why wouldn't we? We live with them, we love them, they're part of our families, and it just kind of makes sense that we would all be a little bit more in communion. And the guys, oh my gosh, they're pulling in a little bit more. They're like plants too. So one of my aunts talks to her plants all the time, and she has, I don't even know if she had 100 plants before she moved to Alaska. She had a lot of plants, and they all thrived. I mean, thrived. So there's something to it. So energetic trends, and that has to do with all of us slowing down a bit more because we want to be more present. We want to be more present because it feels good. Now, getting to the space of from being in our head and in our busy everyday and in our emotions that we're processing down into the smoother waves of alignment and being present, getting there can be a bit of a bumpy road, a scratchy ride, and that's okay. That's okay. That's what we're here for today. So that's one of the energetic trends. The other energetic trend is the fact that a lot of our own energy right now, everyone's energy is, let me see. I'm like, how do I describe what it is I'm seeing? I'm asking Spirit to give me the words. It's as if your own energy right now is very gently, maybe not so gently at times, kind of being pulled apart, and you are now in this space of how do I want to move forward and what does it look like? So in sessions and in the inner light circle, when I hold space, and this is for myself too, when I see people's energy out of alignment, I hold space for it to be aligned for their highest good. And sometimes it takes me more concentration, more effort, and sometimes it's just beep, boop, beep, boop. It happens really quickly. And that's because I have so much experience, which you are gaining experience every single time you do energy work. And what I noticed recently in one-on-ones and in group is that people's energy wasn't realigning. And so I asked the guides what was up with that. And they said that with everything going on right now, the other thing they brought up is how there's 6 planets in retrograde currently. They said there's other astrological items not on our maps that are affecting our energy. Whoa. They said because we need a lot of support right now for liftoff. The energy is like liftoff. So our energy is kind of being kept in a sort of disgruntled phase. That's a way better way to describe it. Our energy is being held in this disgruntled phase so that you and I make more conscious decisions of how we want to move forward. Because when we feel kind of disgruntled or icky, we make choices to feel better. And so what does this look like? It looks like, how are we approaching relationships? How are we approaching ourself? Or how are we approaching our health? How are we approaching our creative side? How are we soothing? How are we bringing forward more elements of joy into our life? How are we, they're saying, a hard no to things we would have settled for in the past? And while they give that example, they're bringing forward how when we move into alignment, it can actually feel uneasy. which is funny because when we think of alignment and flow, we're like, well, it's alignment and flow. It's going to feel so good. And it's crazy, but the exact opposite is true. You have to put yourself almost in this discomfort phase in order to get to the good feeling. That's kind of like why a lot of people don't meditate, is because you have to go through this little bit of a discomfort phase in order to really get yourself into that flow state, that theta state that feels really, really good. So they're dropping in some more guidance. They say, be easy on yourself. And also really, they're using this term, reward yourself for how you are doing this, how you are making decisions in this direction, how you are making decisions for your betterment. And then, of course, some of you have to take care of people in this lifetime, how you are making decisions for their betterment. They say no decision is too small. And they're also bringing me back just a little bit to what I was just talking about a minute ago. They're saying you also look at healing. And in order to feel better, you have to kind of get into the crux of things, clear it out, and then, of course, you feel better. Okay. So they're saying reward yourself, meaning they really want us to, we don't pause to reflect enough on how well we're doing. And this comes up so often in sessions. The guides are like, you're doing a good job. They tell people often, they're telling me 78% of the time. And if they don't say that, it's not because you're not doing a good job. The other thing our guides will do is they will push us. They're showing me this example right now of like tightening the screws a little bit. And they said, we are tightening the screws on all of you right now because you're here, because you want to grow and you want to move forward. Okay. I'm laughing because I think about all these great podcasts that are like manifestation and love and light. And we are that here, yet I also obviously cover the gamut, which is why you're here too, is because your soul knows there's some deeper wisdom for you. There's more for you. And you desire alignment and truth. And they're saying reality, which is kind of a funny term for them to use because reality is what we create it. And reality is what we create. Reality is something we create. You know what I mean? So to that point, part of what's been happening, we're kind of going through this great awakening. Now, I am not a dramatic person. It's true. We're going through this mass consciousness of awakening, and it can feel really, the guides are saying, disheartening at times. It can feel lonely. That's part of the reason I have this podcast, is I want you to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm normal for going through this stuff. Hopefully you feel a little less lonely. And because we're going through this mass consciousness and mass awakening, what happens is it happens at a singular level, right? It's such a solo journey for your soul as you look at how you reframe what we've already talked about, which is the relationships and the boundaries and the health and the mental health and the physical health and your soul. We're going to start really paying attention to our soul health and our energy health. That's one of my biggest purposes in this world, is helping people understand you already know how to take care of your mind and your body. How do you take care of your soul? And no one can figure out exactly what that needs to look like except for you. And it's a journey, right? There's no perfect way to do it. It might look a little bit different every day. It might look a little bit the same every day. So as we go through this collective awakening by ourselves, it also means we are all choosing new. We're choosing differently, and we're creating new realities moving forward. If you were to ask me, if you were to put me in front of two options, option one being a dark entity, option two being free will actually freaks me out more than a dark entity. Because a dark entity, I know I can hold my light. I know that the light wins. I know I mind my own business, and source or beings of the light come in and clear it. And you look at the option of free will, and we have so many options when it comes to what it is we create in life. It is brave, the deepest of heartfelt work to come into life, to be fully aware that you have this power to create and then continue to choose that moving forward. It is brave work. This earth plane and this realm and this time and space we're in right now is not for the faint of heart. It's for the brave. And this is if we look in the past, how we've had different types of wars. I don't think that this is like a war, but I do think this is our challenge, right? A war is a challenge. It evokes change. It brings in resolve in some ways. And this is sort of our modern war. Because we're being forced to invoke big change, but within ourselves, and create this new reality. Okay, so deep breath. We are going to remember your light, your inner light. Everybody has one. And I just asked the guys why we needed to emphasize that part. And it's because we're going to get into this aspect of what happens if you have an attachment. And an attachment is when there's an energy that is not for your highest good, that has crossed a boundary, and it's attached itself to an aspect of your energy field. And when it comes to being connected to your light, that is what's actually going to clear attachments or keep them at bay until you can get support. My cat just jumped up on something, and one of my plants fell, and its new container broke. I don't know why I'm laughing at this. Probably because it's ironic that we've been talking about pets and communication and plants, and then as soon as I talk about the dark energies, that thing goes splat. But it is appropriate because the dark energies definitely make us feel off. And that's kind of the first thing I want to address is, as we talk about this, just remember your inner light. If any aspect of this freaks you out, that's normal. I actually think that's really healthy. It's healthy to be kind of freaked out by it. I remember one of the first energy meditations I did when someone was holding an energetic container, my guides gently brought forward a ghost to me, which was my biggest fear at the time. And I'm in this meditation in a group session, and I'm just crying my eyes out. I know nobody. I think there was maybe 8 or 9 of us there, maybe more. And I am just tears flowing. And my guides gently bring forward this ghost. And I'm like, ooh, I don't want to see a ghost. Ooh. And they're like, do you see how we brought forward a ghost and you're okay? And I'm like, no, ooh, I'm not okay. And it actually took me a while to get used to that and feel it and process it. And what I didn't know about my inner light at the time. And that is what I want you to think about. If you have any moments of fear or feeling jarred, or, I don't want to talk about the dark. Of course not. We don't want to engage with the dark. We don't want to make it a thing. There are plenty of people out there that do that, but having an awareness of it does bring you more into your power. So that's our objective. That's our goal for today, is just to help you kind of understand it and feel more empowered if you ever do come across something like this or feel it in your energy field. And the first thing you want to do is just sort of recognize where your thoughts don't feel like your own, or you maybe feel like you have a wave of something coming through you or over you. You just kind of have this like sense of ick, or you might feel a pressure that kind of keeps prodding at you that doesn't feel normal. And all of these things can be very, very subtle. So as you continue to notice this, and this may take time for you to notice, by the way, that is okay. It's okay. I work with, and I am friends with, and I create with some incredible intuitives and healers. And all of us have been through sort of these lessons on what does it mean to have an attachment? How do you clear one? What's their purpose? Do they have a purpose? Things like that, right? And now it's my belief that we share this knowledge so that other people don't necessarily have to go through it, or don't have to go through it in the way that we did. And when you start to think about what it might mean to have this energy on you that isn't yours, the guides are giving me pause, because they do just want to take a moment to acknowledge where this came from. They're saying this is part of the awakening. This is part of the free will. This is part of us learning that the more we take care of ourselves, the better care we take of ourselves, the better off our energy is. And so we definitely want to think about the choices we make. You know, they're using this example. This is such a cute example. Imagine you have chips every single day. I think chips are amazing. I love chips. I love all chips. I have no hate to any chip. I love chips. Now imagine you have chips every day, twice a day. And they've got things in them that aren't great for you, but chips are delicious, so you have chips every day. And you keep having these chips every day, multiple times a day, and you know that it maybe is slowing you down a little bit, weighing down your energy. I can't tell a lie. Different types of chips carry different vibrations. If you want to elevate your vibration, guess what? The higher the vibration of the food, the higher vibration of you. It is what it is. I also went through a drive-thru the other day and got a taco. So, and now I'm drinking green juice, right? Because life. But that's what I wanted, and I was conscious with the food. I blessed it. I cleared it. I'm still eating junk food. It is what it is. But this is the whole point. As a whole, what you choose to ingest supports your vibration. And this is part of that free will moving forward that we all have and are becoming more conscious of. So say you eat these chips over and over and over again, and you're intuitively getting these gentle nudges, messages, hey, chill out on the chips a little bit. Maybe a couple times a week, maybe once a week for a serving or two. But oh my gosh, you're going through, 5 bags a week, and you don't listen to it, and you start to get constipated, and you're feeling sluggish, and you're feeling moody. Obviously, you know what's good for you. You're not choosing to eat the fruit. You're not choosing to drink enough water over extended periods of time. So what happens is when we cross this abyss of knowing better, becoming more conscious, being more aware, and we continue to make these choices, that's when our vibration can actually really dip and drop further than it normally could. And then that's where attachments like to say, hey, I see this low vibration over here connected to this glorious light that is you. Smack. I'm going to go glom on over here. If you can see what I mean by this example, it is when we are consciously making decisions we know are wrong. And in a repeated way, because this is not the same as, making a decision and then looking back and learning. This is when we know, like I already said, this is when we know better and we still continue to go down that path. Whew. I'm sure there's a lot of other examples running through your head right now, and you're probably right. So it's okay. It is okay. You are human. This is part of the process. The guides say this is where it gets really exciting, though. Because on the flip side of this, why can't you choose to bring in more light, more healing light, more higher vibrational waves of energy into your being at the same token, as much as you can choose to pick the bag of chips off the shelf or out of the drawer? So let's get into, you feel like you might have an attachment. So the first thing that you do is you remember you have an inner light, because one of the universal laws of energy is that the light always wins, or the light always prevails. Everything comes from source, even that which is of the dark, even attachments. And there's this universal law of energy that the light can actually deplete the dark, push out the dark, reformat the dark, or even disintegrate the dark. So when I do house clearings, sometimes, most of the time, most things clear really quickly, really easily. Sometimes things take a more concentrated effort. There has been 1 or 2 times, you guys, where Spirit had me run energy for these like little tiny things that were around. I don't know. They were maybe the size of like a mini basketball. And there's a group of them. And, you know, I hold space for the light to come and do the clearing. And Spirit starts running this energy through me. And I'm like, what is this energy you guys are running through me? And they're like, oh, you kind of get to, oh gosh, it's not like blow them up, but like disintegrate these things. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I get to run an energy like through my arms and hands, essentially, because that's not always how energy works. I know that's how they teach Reiki, but when you are holding space for energy, there is so much more available to us than simply running energy through our arms, which is also an extremely beautiful thing and an amazing modality, but that there's so much more available to you beyond simply that. So they're running this, it was like a fiery type of energy. As you can imagine, the universe has things that go beyond even fire that are so incredible and so cool. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, I get to run this energy right now and disintegrate these things. It's like, I feel so cool. And sure enough, the things, you know, and that's how they were meant to, that's what, you know, I don't know what their karmic law was. I don't know what else was involved. I didn't ask. I didn't receive the information, and I had a lot going on, and I just didn't kind of care to know the details. But that is one of the things that happens when I do clearings of any kind, is sometimes we're given information because there's deeper lessons. And over 99% of the time, Spirit comes in and clears these things, and I do not know what happens to these things. I don't know if Spirit destroys them. I don't know if Spirit puts them back in their realm. I don't know if these things have karma that they need to clear. I don't know. I genuinely don't. I've never gone down that path. I don't have any desire to go down that path and learn. And so when it comes to this attachment with you want to think about your light, claim your light, and know that just by you doing that is an extremely valuable first step. The guides say it takes you over 80% of the way there. Let's see here. I'm asking them what they mean because, yeah, okay. So, and it's actually a healthy practice to have in general. Like this morning in my energy meditation, I concentrated on my light and I said, and this is what I recommend if you feel like you might have an attachment, but you can say, I love my light. I claim my light. I choose me. I love me. Remember, love is the most powerful vibration, and really what we're all working towards here at the end of the day. Less chips, more love. So that's what you want to do. Number 1, hello inner light. Number 2, I choose my light. I choose my energy. I choose me. And repeat that to yourself for as long as feels right. And like I said, I did that this morning in my meditation. It just felt good, felt necessary. Did I have an attachment? No, but it felt like what I needed. So next we want to, I just looked down and made sure I was recording. Oh my goodness. I could just talk about energy all day long. Technology, whatever. No, I'm grateful for technology. I'm grateful it puts us all in touch with each other. So that's number 1. And number 2, the next thing that you want to do is from your inner light, say, I call forth specialists of the light to clear, balance, and protect my energy. I call forth specialists of the light to clear and balance and protect my energy. Now, when you call forth specialists of the light, it could mean one thing comes forward. It could mean 18 things come forward. It could mean a specialist that you and I didn't even know existed could come forward. There's so many possibilities. And that's why we want to set the intention that that specialists of the light, because Source knows what's attached to you, why it's attached to you, and and what it'll take to clear it. Okay, great job. Great job. So see if you notice you're feeling better. And the other things you can do, I love this because it's so beautiful and so simple. Be in nature. of course. These things tend to slough off in nature. Our meridians get realigned and balanced in nature. Our energy gets realigned. Our chakras receive support in nature. Here's the beautiful thing. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Emily, I do not want to be a walking dumpster into beautiful nature and just give it all my crap and walk away. I get it. I hear you. Here's one of the most magnificent things about nature and Mother Earth. Nature and Mother Earth also knows what to do with these energies. So as you let these things go, they can be transmuted and moved out and moved through. Look at how much nature evolves and grows. And the guides are actually aligning you and I to nature too. They're saying, what a beautiful example. Look how slow a tree grows, yet a tree is so strong and beautiful from the inside out and so unique with all of its different leaves or nettles and branches. They say that's you. So take your time with your growth. Spiritual growth doesn't have to happen overnight. You would never look at a tree and judge it and be like, well, you are halfway to your potential, tree. Sorry, I'm not giving you any credit until you reach 23 feet in height. You would never do that. You could spend an hour looking at so many different elements of a single tree and be in awe of it. I should do a podcast on trees. Trees are pretty phenomenal. Nature is phenomenal. So you get the idea. So nature is another way to clear. Another way to clear that I have found to be so helpful is Epsom salt baths. So I just purchase bulk Epsom salt and I just listen to my intuition on how much, and it will clear and rebalance your energy. It actually really clears your mind too, because we do get a lot of mental fog from the day to day. Now, this happens because when we work with certain types of people, we're engaging with their energy, whether we like it or not. When we're on social media, same thing. You get the idea. You go to the grocery store, same thing. It's inevitable. Of course, it also, we're affected by our loved ones and we live with, all the same. So just something to keep in mind. It's a great way to do it. If you cannot take a bath, an Epsom salt bath, then I recommend bringing the Epsom salts into the shower. So obviously step into the shower and do your business, get yourself all skidded up with water. And then you can take Epsom salt and put it around your neck, around your throat, on your chest, in your armpits, wherever feels appropriate for you. Obviously, you're going to have to step away from the water for a second, and then you can shampoo your hair, put the conditioner in, and let it sit for a while. Do whatever it is you need to do. And put the Epsom salt wherever feels right for you, right? Wherever feels right for you. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to have this Epsom salt on my nose and on my cheeks. Hey, that's your spot. Okay. So Epsom salts, that. The other piece is, I do believe we're going to get to a point where we can hold space for each other for energetic clearings. In fact, I know we are. I'm really, really excited about that. The other thing you can do is seek support. So there are many practitioners and healers out there that know how to hold space for clearings. If you ever feel like you want to meet someone who specializes in clearings, that's something I do. You're welcome to book a session with me. I also have people I can refer you out to. So if you feel like you want to work with someone else for your clearing, you can shoot me an email, connect@emilymarie.com. And I have a broader network of not just white practitioners, but practitioners of color and different backgrounds who can support you if you feel like that's the kind of support that you need. So I will say that in all spaces that I hold, in all energy containers that I hold, so individual, when I do group meditations in person or virtual, when I hold space on TikTok for energy healings, I'm holding space for clearing as well. So I am so particular when I hold space, even online, for who shows up. Now, you might be thinking for a second, excuse me, energy clearings when people show up on TikTok? Yes. And trust me, it has happened on more than one occasion where someone has entered the group that their energy is so buck wild I have to take a moment to pause, because when you hold space for group energy clearing, it's so important. And this has taken me years and years of practice. And this is one of my purposes in life, right? So it's a little bit different for me, but you just want to be so particular and clean with how you hold space for the energy. There's the group container, and then there's the individual containers, because when people let go of stuff, we don't want it schlepping off into the group. That would not be fun, right? The other thing I do want to bring up, the guides are kind of bringing up this point right now, is when you receive energy healing, there can be this misnomer, this idea, oh, I'm going to do energy healing and therefore I'm going to feel lighter and brighter instantly. And sometimes that does happen. And then sometimes it opens up a wound within us that we need more time and space to clear. And that is normal too. So be your own best self judge. And know that whatever your intention is going into your session, if your intention is that you only receive what's for your highest good, you feel like you might be in this little bit of a murky funk state following your session, is there something else you need to continue to look at? That's actually happened to me personally a couple of times. I've had it happen with a client in a group session. And especially if you're receiving energy healing for the first time, it can open up a lot. And let's see here. The other thing the guides are bringing up is when we sometimes, I'm raising my hand, I'm like, guilty. I've been there, I've done this too. But we think we go to an energy session to quickly solve a problem. And I have been on the receiving end of where I've had energy sessions for myself, and my guides have really had to kind of hold me in this discomfort, hold me in this space. I didn't get resolution in my session. And that was because the lesson needed to continue for my highest good. Because as they said at the beginning of our time together, of this set together today, when we are in discomfort, we choose differently. And our whole purpose here is evolution and growth. And they go, and love and light. I'm like, yeah. Okay. So the main message right there is, don't think because you are in a holding pattern of discomfort that you're doing something wrong. Just look at that. This is when you give yourself the reward. Okay, what good decisions did I make? What do I need to shift? What do I need to do differently? And I have also had to hold space for clients who are in this holding pattern. And I understand it's not fun. And then, you know, the Emily part of me, the ego, is like, oh no, I want to help them. I know it's not fun to be in that place and I want to push it forward, but I can't do that. So I just have to hold space for that. And remember too, you know, this evolution that we're all on spans decades. And so you may or may not hit that space, and whether or not you do is not right or wrong at all. Everybody's path is different. Okay, so that is what to do if you feel as though you have an attachment. They say you can or cannot dive into the why. Sometimes these things just happen, right? It's sort of a bad luck of the draw, or that free will that we mentioned. Sometimes it's the, you know, okay, I'm choosing to eat 18 bags of chips in a week when I know I shouldn't. And it's lowering your vibration and allowing more of the negative vibrations in. So you claim your light. And it's a good practice to claim your light and build your self-love regardless of attachments or not. And you ask specialists of the light to come in and do the clearing and support you. Nature, Epsom salt baths. There's other things too. The guides are saying dancing, movement. If something has popped into your mind and you're saying, well, Emily, you know, this is what I'm thinking of. This helps me. Amazing. You're absolutely right. They're saying smoke clears. Of course, I know some of you are going to ask me about things like smudging and incense. Smudging is an activity from a background that I don't have. Do I burn things at times to help support and balance my energy? Yes, Absolutely. And those are things I consciously purchase, and I go through my own practice of what feels right. So does that mean I think it and I burn it and set an intention? Was I consciously drawn to the item that I'm burning, etc.? Those are things we all want to look at, right? Let's see. The other thing the guides are bringing up are crystals. Crystals hold a vibration. I'm asking them if crystals clear. They're saying in general, no. One of the exceptions is that if somebody uses the tool of selenite is an insane crystal. It actually runs the vibration of light energy. It runs the energy of it. Crystals hold an energy. Selenite runs the energy of a light vibration. Insane. So, but those are nothing. They're like, that's a little too, that's not really what everything we've talked about today is what's going to take care of you. Grounding always helps. Always helps. Being in healthy bodies of water, very clearing. So there's a lot of ways we can clear our energy. There's never just one. So if something came to you, trust it, go with it. Okay. Reiki is the other thing we're going to cover today. So the reason I'm bringing up Reiki is because this is something that the guides have been ruminating and helping me. There's a time for me to come forward with this. The time is now. Reiki is a beautiful, beautiful tool. Decades ago, there was someone who went to the side of a mountain, was there for a long period of time, and this concept of Reiki came through. And if you're not familiar with what it is, Reiki is a Japanese art form to bring forth light, love, and healing energy to other people. And it's my own personal belief that Reiki is something that was meant for the masses. Now, it is a Japanese art form. So when we think about the art of Reiki, I like to take a moment and just honor where it came from. And it's definitely been diluted as time has gone on. And at the same time, at the end of the day, what matters is how you feel when you practice any sort of energetic, the guides are calling it art forms right now, be it tarot, mediumship, pet communication, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So to that note, Reiki came forward because we needed construct in the world. We were a world of construct. We were all about building buildings, building roads, building sewage systems, building electricity. Things were very concrete. And as humans especially, we were very heavy in the trade market back then, meaning jobs were primarily around trades. And of course, there was school and education, and you usually went to school and received education for a trade. So Reiki comes in and gives you beautiful, the guides are calling it coursework, but basically you, with your hands, use symbols that help amplify different variations of energy for healing. And it works. It's really beautiful. And one of the other aspects of Reiki is that you receive attunements from a Reiki master. So there's Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki 3, and Master. And what's funny is you can actually get your Reiki Master, you can get all your certifications online in a weekend. Now, of course, you and I both know how much time it takes to actually master something. And you are always on a journey. You're always a student of the universe. There's always so much more to learn. And I remember I would be leaving an energy class, or I would have an energy class one weekend, and I'd be talking to a friend in the back of an Uber, and I'd be telling them what I experienced in my Reiki class that weekend. And the driver would pop in and say, "Oh, I heard you say Reiki." And they'd say, "What level are you?" And I'm thinking to myself, it doesn't matter what certification I am because all that matters is what's my practice been. And for me, I've been practicing energy for a long time. I don't even know how many years. It kind of blends. The guides won't give me an answer. I don't have a definitive date, but it really doesn't matter your levels, except in America. I have found, like when I was practicing, when I had when I was renting out a space and I was doing sessions in person, people really wanted to know my certification levels. And I said, okay. I said, well, I'm a Reiki master, but I was like, anybody can get their master certification in a weekend. I didn't, but still, you get the idea. So we really glom on to the structure of things, and that's okay. There's a lot of good reasons why we've done that in the past and why we still continue to do that. And what's happening now is there's a massive shift. And when I was doing in-person Reiki sessions, I found new, because my intention was holding space for the highest good of all involved, my higher self and source and my spirit team's like, sweet, we're going to show you some other things because that's your intention and you're here to grow and learn. And so all of these new things would come forward, the most insane things that were always right for the client. Some things I'll never see again, right? Because some things were just meant for that one specific client. And all good stuff because we're dealing with source. But if you can imagine, Reiki is beautiful symbol work, beautiful space holding. Can you imagine if that was the only thing that made sense for 8 billion people in this world? And then you look at the entire universe? Probably not. So if Reiki is something you've done or something you're interested in, I think it's a beautiful tool. If it interests you, there's a reason for that. It's also a beautiful guide, but Reiki is not source energy. Reiki is a tool. So if you think about it, source is energy. Mediumship is energy. Pet communications, energy. Space holding, meditation, all those things are energy. And source did not come down and say, okay, Reiki is the thing. Reiki is the thing that everyone in the whole universe needs exactly. Of course not, but it's a beautiful, beautiful learning tool. Everything can be a beautiful learning tool. One of my friends got excited because they just learned about pendulums. And they said, I've been practicing and using this pendulum. And they said, what do you recommend? I said, I recommend your intention is crystal clear, that only your energy comes through for the pendulum. The pendulum is a tool responding to your energy and your intention. Reiki is a tool responding to your energy and intention. You get the idea. So this is meant to help empower you to say, oh, I get to use these tools. These tools, you guys, are going to show you so much. I promise. The more you work with whatever tools you're drawn to, what feels good, what you're comfortable with, these tools are going to help guide you slowly but surely. And believe me, so slow. It's okay that it's slow. You're actually not doing anything wrong if it goes slow. You're doing it right. It's all about how you feel. Okay, so you want to work with the pendulum, work with the pendulum. What do you notice? What do you feel? What was good? What was odd about that? If something is off, ask your guides, why is this odd? Why does this feel off? What more do I need to know? It's coaching, it's teaching you. And remember, you're empowered with whatever spectrum of the energy comes forward because you have your light and you have your free will to choose the light. And it's all information and education. So I'm going to end on this note. When I look at some, not all, a good percentage, a good chunk of my intense learnings in this lifetime, they never came through classes or courses. They came through me practicing in real life. And they actually came through as some of my biggest challenges. So I actually received energetic challenges from other people and from other experiences. And that's what in part showed me what I was capable of. Now imagine if I had been faced with some of these things and said, oh, no, I'm sorry. I do not assimilate with the dark ever. What happened is sometimes darkness was projected onto me, pushed onto me. And I said, well, hang on a second. I don't want this. No, thank you. This is not part of what I want to experience. So I chose my light and I said to Source, guide me. What needs to happen here? And I was shown new tools, new ways of being. And I was like, holy crap, I had no idea I was capable of this. I wouldn't have known what I was capable of if I didn't have this challenge. So as you meet new challenges or as things come up that give you discomfort in life, and it doesn't just have to be dark energy, right? It can come through in a lot of different ways. It can come through in an annoying neighbor. It can come through, in a teacher that you don't like for your son's school. These energies can come through in a lot of ways. And while on the one hand, you may be thinking, wait, what did I do to attract this? It could also mean, what is it asking you to do internally to rise to the occasion and show you what you're capable of? Because you're capable of so much. So there are really beautiful ways to learn what you're capable of that don't include all of the challenges and all of the dark. And that's where your day-to-day general energy practice comes in. As you run energy for yourself, as you say, hey, you're running to the bathroom. Hey, spirit team. Hey, higher self. Let's, teach me something cool today. What would be really helpful to help me and to help, my family today, right? That's all good stuff. Manifestation, good stuff. Affirmations, intentions, good stuff. Doing fun energy healing from someone we found online, good stuff. Reading books about developing your intuition, good stuff. And we don't want to ignore the fact that we do have shadow aspects of ourselves, that the more we bring light to them, the more we rise, the more we learn, the more we're capable of. So feel empowered in your journey. I know I have. It's taken me a long time to get here. A long time, the longest time. If you feel like it's taking you a long time, don't worry. It's taken me well over 10 years. So you're either in good company or you're like, holy crap, I don't want it to take me 10 years. It won't. That was my path and my journey and part of why I'm teaching this stuff. So feel empowered when you can. If you feel bumped out of your power, that's okay too. That is a part of the process. I promise you. Because when we're bumped out of our power, what do? We choose new. And we choose and find new ways to be back in our power, and we're going to be even better than we were before. So, okay. The guides are bringing me to your heart space right now, our heart spaces right now. Just taking a deep breath in. They're smiling too. They're smiling because they want us to remember that as much as we can be serious and do, deep transformational healing work, it also gets to be good. It gets to be light. It gets to be fun. Yeah. And they're kind of joking too. They're like, it's okay to have chips once in a while. It's okay to have the chips. Okay. I don't want to scare anybody off of chips. No, you're all doing amazing. Don't forget to set more intentions for yourself. Intentions give energy direction. Why wouldn't you set energy in a positive direction for yourself right now? Why not? So we're going to take a moment and we're going to set intentions for easeful and joyfulness in the rest of our day, in the rest of our week. The guides are joking, in the rest of our lifetimes. Hey, why not? Don't negate this whole podcast we just did, folks. Oh my gosh. I'm joking with the guides when I said that. All right. And also remember too, this is part of you being in your power. You get to go back and forth with your guides and your spirit team. Remember, you're equal to them in energy, even though they may be more advanced than you. Well, of course, they're more advanced than you. You're still equal. And they're bringing forth so much love, so much love. So we're going to end it on that. Breathe into your heart space. Breathe into your heart, your throat chakra. Feel into the love that exists for you. It exists. It's there now from your higher self, from source, from your spirit team, from your loved ones who are currently on this earth plane and not. All of that love exists for you in your heart space right now. So taking another breath in, just feel into that ample space of love. And how do you cultivate more of that for yourself? Oh, thank you so much for being on this journey with me, with others in this community. I'm so excited for everything that is taking place for all of us. It's all bringing us to a brighter path, a brighter way of being. All of this is happening so that we can all feel more whole, more complete, and more in that space of love. Until next time, thank you so much for bringing more of your light into this world. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review, and make sure you've signed up for the newsletter for special insights, offerings, and announcements that are just for you.